Welcome to Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973, an inspirational podcast about the ups and downs of life and everything in between. Here's your host, Shane Lakita.
Okay, y'all, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of my podcast, Coffee Talk with Liquidshano 1973. I'm Shane Lakita, just like they said in the beginning with the host. And there is a lot of exciting stuff going on here with the podcast. Exciting stuff with the live stream. I'm just going to go through a real quick list of everything that's going on. I mean, think about it. The last podcast that you heard was of the interview with Daryl Perry, who has a great podcast, who runs Your Level Fitness and is a great resource to be able to tap into, to be able to find your best version of yourself. Go dig in on that level of fitness, along with the mental side of things, and not treating it as a diet mentality, but rather giving yourself the tools and resources to be able to move forward. So that's one of the interviews that I had promised, right? I promised I'm going to get into the interviewing aspect of it, leaning in on other folks and everything else. And that all stemmed from the live stream. So we did a live stream on the YouTube channel, Liquidshano 1973 YouTube channel. If you have not subscribed, pop over to YouTube, and there's two channels I want you to take a look at, guys. I want you to look at the Liquidshano 1973 one, and then I also want you to type in 2KTM, and you'll see our two kitchen tables and a microphone channel as well that we're doing live streams. So I've got all kinds of stuff going on right now, not only with the podcast, not only with the interviews, not only with live streams, but we've got two kitchen tables and a microphone back in full effect. The band has brushed off all the instruments, and we're coming at you with new stuff and new content and new material that we're doing. We're going to try to do every Friday on the two kitchen tables and a microphone YouTube platform where we're together. I've got all kinds of other stuff going on. I'll tell you what, here's the thing. So I'd say about 2 or 3 months ago, probably 3 months ago, I logged into another application, just like Instagram or Snapchat or Facebook and whatever else, and I dabbled a little bit in the world of TikTok. Now, most of TikTok was the world of kids dancing and Musical.ly and lip syncing and all that stuff. So I was going there for a couple reasons. One was a friend had told me you need to get involved with it, bring your positivity, bring some good stuff. Other ones that I had followed some business advice from some gurus saying that this might be the next avenue to be able to tap into. And then, of course, I was also in there to be able to take a look at what my son was doing. So I popped on there, and I realized all of a sudden this is a community of, if you create it and you administer it and mold it the way that you want it to, you could be involved with other artists, other positivity gurus, and other people that are really trying to be able to lift each other up and be a really positive influence in the world. So I like that. I love the aspect of that, and that's what I've been leaning in on. Well, here's the great thing that's panned out from that. This morning, I did an interview on a YouTube channel by a gentleman named Joe Atang, Joe, and then Atang. And you'll see that he's all over the social media platforms. He's all over YouTube. He's all over Instagram. He's all over TikTok. He's a really good following there. All about positivity, all about leaning in, all about doing the right things, all about all that stuff, lifting each other up, inspiration, et cetera, et cetera. So I was on his video cast this morning, and we were discussing lots of stuff. We were discussing what success looks like. We were giving advice to people that might be just starting off in podcasting and whatever else. But I met him through TikTok. And the thing about it is that who would have thought I would have met people through this app that people are dancing and joking and lip syncing to? But instead, I'm finding a whole new demographic and dynamic of people that I'm learning from, I'm leaning in on, I'm inspiring, I'm being inspired by, all this different stuff. And it's just been a whole new world and a whole different demographic of people. So there are a lot of people on this podcast right now listening to me talk to you guys, including all of my long-termers, the guys that have been here, guys and gals that have been here since day one, 2 some odd years ago, episode 1, all the way up until episode 199, which this will be episode 200, which is amazing and humbling at the same time. But all the folks that have been around for a while, now we have a whole new demographic of people that are popping in. So if you're new here, or even if you're an old timer, if you're a veteran here, do me a favor, after you listen to a few of the podcasts, if you like it and you do gain some inspiration, do me a favor and go on to iTunes, right to the very bottom of it. As you scroll down on the page with Liquidshano Coffee Talk is right there. You scroll all the way down, leave a review, and then leave a commented review on there. The reason is because I want to keep on sharing it and paying it forward that other people can see what you might have gained from the podcast itself. So I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the new listeners. I especially appreciate the veterans and the people that have been around for a while. And even more so, I appreciate the patrons of the show, the ones that donate or are able to invest in the show for me to do things like the stream lives or the ring lights or the microphones or the software or anything like that. It's all working together. And it's coming together slowly but surely. But I'll tell you what, I'm humbled and amazed by the whole entire thing. And when I jumped onto TikTok during this whole quarantine piece, because that's really when I really focused in on what I was doing, think about it. I took a chance. I put myself out there. I said to myself, I'm going to put myself in video format of a 15-second or 60-second video to bring something inspirational or positive or to reinforce the message of we can do it with this TikTok platform. And I dove right in. Now, that's risky, guys, right? That's risky. Some people are anti-social media. Some people don't want to put themselves out there. But I did. And I said, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to rock it out. And I'm going to do everything I can to continue to play in the space of being a positive influence on the world. And so I'm meeting these people left and right. I'm making connections. I got one person that actually did a custom hat for me. Another person did some etchings and some rocks glasses for me. And I got other people that I'm doing future podcasts with and future video casts with. And I'm connecting. And that's really the purpose of it, right? So that's really exciting. But here's the point. The reason I'm bringing it up to you, because it is kind of like story time here on Coffee Talk right now, is that I took a chance. I put myself out there because I have goals. I have goals that I want to achieve. And the goals that I want to achieve are to reach more people, to one day make this a full-time gig where I'm not necessarily having to have a 9-to-5 or a 50-hour-a-week job or travel all over the place, that I could do this for a living. Right? That's my long-term goal. But short-term goals are grow my following, grow my base, have people listening to the podcast, increase my downloads, increase my visibility, make impacts, and make a positive impact on life and people in general. Right? Those are my goals. My goals haven't gone anywhere, guys. It doesn't matter if the title of the space that we're living in right now is COVID-19, quarantined, isolation, or whatever. My goals have gone nowhere, and neither have yours. So if my goals are still the same, the landscape might change, the time frame that I want to hit those goals might change, but nothing has changed in the fact that you still have goals that you're trying to shoot for. You're trying to aspire to be the best version of you. You're trying to aspire to achieve goals. You're trying to aspire to hit certain financial sets or whatever it is. You're trying, still continuing to push forward no matter what we're faced with, no matter where we're at. If it's weight loss, why do we stop trying to continue to lose weight and be healthy just because we're under quarantine and self-isolation? Are we stress eating? Maybe. Are we diving into things we shouldn't be diving into just because of it? Yeah, probably. Which is human nature. I'm not saying it's wrong or right. What I'm saying is why are you losing sight of your goals? I mean, it's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to have your feelings. But my wife had this great comment to me the other day, and I was telling her, I said, some days I feel better than others, and some days I feel down in the dumps, and I'm not really feeling up to par, and I don't really want to do the different things that are there. And my wife said, well, what's changed? Why do you feel that way? Because of the environment? Because we're looking at the news and we see words like pandemic and death and chaos and mayhem and tests and test results and all this different stuff. Are you eating your feelings that way? What's changed? What changed with your goals? Your goals were you want to make the podcast successful. You want to be in the social media platforms. You want to be able to continue to move forward. You want to lose weight. You want to be the best at what you can do with your regular job. You want to be a good dad and a good husband, right? Those are your goals, right? I mean, we've written them down. You have them listed. And I said, yeah. She goes, well, so what's changed? And it really got me thinking. And I'm thinking to myself, well, nothing has really changed except that the environment's changed. I'm no longer on the road every day. I'm working from home. I'm no longer out and about right now just because we're in isolation. So, yeah, I could probably still continue to stay with my goals. I can continue to go down the road of doing the things that I've always wanted to do. It's just changed a little bit, and the dynamic of it's changed. She said to me, well, why do you make excuses when you don't do it then? If it's health related and you wanted to get a mile of walking a day in every day for the month of April, why is it that it's like pulling teeth to get there just because you're feeling a certain way? Now you've got time, she said. Now you've got time to go and do the things that you want to do when you actually are making it sound like you have less time. There's no excuses now. If you want to achieve your goals, why aren't you going for your goals? Now, mind you, this is my wife, and we've been together for almost 20 years. We've been together for over 20 years, but married for about 18. So she knows me like a book. And she knows how I'm wound, and she knows where I'm feeling. One of the things she brought up the other day is I was on a podcast or a live cast with Jonathan Giordano. And so if you don't know, 2 kitchen tables and a microphone, like I opened with, we dusted off the instruments and we're getting back into it. We've done 2 live feeds in a row. And if you haven't seen them, we do it on the YouTube channel and on No Finish Line Nation. So pop in on Friday nights. We're there usually around 8 p.m. Eastern time, where we're just going to go over stuff, maybe bring in some guests and whatever else. So anyway, we were on there, and John was sharing that, he's struggling. He's struggling because he doesn't want to go to the grocery store. That's where he used to get his inspiration. He doesn't want to be able to battle through all that stuff because of all the sickness and illness that's out there. He doesn't want to. He's not finding the inspiration. He's not really in a good place with everything. And so we talked about it's okay not to be okay. And we talked about it's okay to have those feelings. It's okay for people to understand that they do have those feelings and acknowledge it and live through that, right? And learn from it and be able to continue to move forward in a positive space. Well, I agreed with him, and I said, when he asked me, how are you doing? And I said, well, I'm okay. I said, I'm doing okay. I started off pretty strong with my eating, and then I fell off the wagon, and, I have ups and downs, and this, that, and the other, and, I was kind of selling myself short. So after everything was done, the video cast was over, my wife was watching, we get done, she sits down with me, and she says, hey, can I ask you a question? I said, what's up? She said, why do you sell yourself short? And I say, well, what do you mean? Why do I sell myself short? She goes, why do you sell the hard work that you put into things and the way that you're focused and dedicated on your goals and your aspirations, whether it comes to health or anything, you sell yourself short when you're trying to talk to others about what you're doing? And I said, no, I don't. She said, yes, you do. Think about it. When you were talking about how you're struggling, how many times are you actually snacking at nighttime? How many times are you diving into chocolate bars or all the Easter candies that were in the house that you had none of, or the muffins that are sitting in the house that we bought for Gavin, from my son Gavin, from the store, and they have 1,000 calories a piece, and you ate 0 of them, and you had the mental fortitude to know that you can't do that and that you weren't going to do that because you didn't want it to side rail you too much. She goes, but you don't talk about that. You always talk about how you struggle, and you always talk about what you're failing in because you're your own worst critic. She goes, but you know what? You have goals, and you're fighting for your goals, and you're continuing to move forward. And I was floored, and I went, you're absolutely right. I feel like I leaned in on the negative side of it to understand the concept of me relating to John or me relating to folks that are out there that are struggling as well, but on the same token, not celebrating in the fact that, I am doing some things that are positive. I am working towards my goals. I am doing some things that I'm putting one foot in front of the other to be a positive influence and be somebody that can look at my journey and say, hey, I'm still staying focused no matter what's going on. That's really important stuff, and it's true to who I am. I just don't celebrate it enough. This morning, I posted a small video on some of the social media platforms that I have, and here's what I wanted to share with you guys. So what I did is I made a checklist for myself. Every morning on my whiteboard, I write on this whiteboard what my goals are for the day. And let me list out what these goals are. Now, this isn't anything huge, guys. I'm not talking about save the world, and I'm not talking about lose 100 pounds. I'm not talking about these grand, huge goals. These are my daily goals of the things that I want to be able to do. So let me read through them real quick. And they've got a little blank box next to each one of the items that I can check off when I do them. So first one would be to shower, then to shave, then coffee. Then I tell my family I love them. Then I do a podcast. Then I exercise. Then board meeting. And then kiss my wife. And then I left one blank there for me to add on to it. Now, one of the concepts that I try to do on a whiteboard is it's flexible and I can move it around. It's not as rigid as just your regular list of things to be able to accomplish or do. It's literally something that I'm trying to do to just be the best version of myself. But here's the concept of it is, as I'm going throughout the day, I can check off those items and feel accomplished. And I can feel like I'm still achieving my goals. I'm still shooting for my targets. I'm still working hard. I'm still doing all the things that I need to do. And this is a great way to quantify it, right? It's a great way for me to be able to say, I've accomplished something today, and it's something that I've been able to do. And those goals that I'm shooting for are super important, and they're things that I have to continue to do moving forward and be in the space of. I can't forget sight of the fact that I have goals that I'm shooting for, and so do you. You're worth the investment of understanding that you still have goals. Don't let the environment of negative news, of presidents up there making silly speeches, of people all around you doing stupid things, being negative all around you, or whatever, bringing you down when you could be in a really positive space. You've got goals to shoot for. You've got things to fight for. You are worth the investment. Okay, so that's first of all. So don't lose sight of your goals just based on the chaos and the drama. One of the other things we always talk about, don't we always talk about on this podcast, you have to be a calming force in the time of chaos. So be calm in chaos, and then when it's chaotic, it'll bring things down and bring it right size to normal. Every morning that I check in and I set my daily goals, this is a way for me to create calm in the time of chaos. It's a way to give myself a moment and a break to be able to do the things I need to do. And if you're outfitting yourself with some form of calm in a time when it feels like everything around you is just breaking apart, it will help you to be successful moving forward. And you can learn from it. You can learn that I'm okay, and I have the mental fortitude of continuing to truck through. This podcast here that I'm doing right now is not about wallowing in the sorrows and not about sitting around talking about woe is us. This podcast is more about do the things that are necessary for you to be successful. Outfit yourself with tools. Give yourself an outlet to be able to fight through the adversity, to be able to fight through the noise, to be able to overcome some of the stuff that's being thrown at us. You know, on one hand, you've got your frontline workers, your essential workers, your emergency personnel that are in the trenches every single day. And I know 3 or 4 of them personally. And you know what's amazing to me is that each one of them have a positive outlook on things. They know the bleak situation. They know what's going on. But you know what they do? They have goals, and their goals are, we're going to help people. We're going to administer the help that's necessary. We're going to do everything that we can in the power that we have in front of us to be able to do our jobs and fight for the cause. Get it? They have goals. Me, here I am stepping outside my comfort zone, going in down the road of doing this, getting involved with this kids app of TikTok and dancing and lip syncing, but I know it's part of my overall goals. It's part of my brand, and I want to be able to spread the reach and inspire many outside of just the realm of the podcast and continue moving forward. Those are my goals. So I'm going to keep fighting for them. I have health goals as well. The gym may be closed, but guess what I'm doing? I'm making a makeshift gym at home. I might go down and use my free weights that I have down in my small little workout room. I might be doing some push-ups and sit-ups and going for mile walks every single night with my wife because I have goals. Does that make sense? Because if you think about it, your goals are not changing. You still want to fight for all the things that you want to. Your priorities may change a little bit, and the time frames might change. If you're familiar with the term SMART goals, I'll walk you through it real quick. I've talked about it on many podcasts before, but if you're familiar with it, just bear with me for a moment. But if you're not, SMART goals, think of the acronym SMART, all the letters for the beginning of SMART goals. Specific for the S, measurable for the M, that you're able to give yourself something to measure, right? A is attainable. Is the goal that you're setting for yourself something that is attainable? R is realistic. Is it a realistic goal? Is it something that you're trying to be able to take a look at it? And then T is time sensitive. This is the most important piece because in the dynamic that we're living in right now, your time sensitive piece of it with your goal might change a little bit. Why? Because we're in quarantine. We're not able to get out. We're not able to go to the gym. We're not able to do the stuff. But you're still working towards the goal. You've got goals. You're worth it. You took the time and the investment to be able to say to yourself, these are my goals. This is what I'm shooting for. Why take your foot off the pedal right now just because we're in the middle of a pandemic? Why? You don't have to. You don't have to do that. But we find that we do because it's what everybody does. We all hunker down. We kind of close off ranks. We bring it in tight. We don't really expose ourselves. We want to be able to make sure that we're good to go. That's okay. But you can do what you need to do. How about the fact that there's so many people that are finding the creative side that they've always wanted to be able to tap into during this time as well? So I've been doing artwork and cartoons and some graffiti work and some lettering and stuff like that, which I've always wanted to get into, but never had time to do so. Now I do. And that's been part of my whole entire journey, to continue to elevate my performance versus step back and not achieve the goals that I want to. So it's so much easier said than done, right? It's hard not to fall into the space of the negative, into the space of the woe is me, into the space of pandemics and chaos and mayhem. It's hard not to fall into that space because that's all we're faced with. That's all we have a barrage of coming to us. You've got to work at, how do I decipher between moving and navigating through that and getting to a place where I know that I can achieve the things that I've set out for myself to be able to accomplish. To be the best version of me, I've got to put the work in to be able to keep digging and keep pushing forward and put one foot in front of the other and not take no for an answer and continue to focus on me as a person. How about those that are quarantined or isolated to work from home? You're now forced with the fact that you're on Zoom meetings. You're on these little video calls, whether it's Microsoft Teams or Zoom or FaceTime or whatever, and you're forced to be social but not social. You're away from work. Well, what does it stop you that you're doing work and you're on a Zoom meeting for the job that you have? Would you do it any less? Why don't you be the best person on that call? Stand out more than the rest. Show that you're prepared. Dig in, study, prepare for the call beforehand. Talk about some things that are relevant. Add value to the conversation. Listen, engage. All these things are things that you can incorporate in with something that is the new environment and where we're at. It's just like what you would do if you were at work and you were working amongst people. If you were at a meeting or you were in a training at work, you would want to stand out. You would want to be able to learn, and you'd want to be able to engage and converse and collaborate and all that stuff like you would in person. But now we're just doing it over Zoom. So the dynamic of it is the situation hasn't changed. You still are working hard. You still want to be able to achieve your goals professionally, financially, or anything with the job that you're doing. So why steer clear of that? But instead we get in this place where we're like, oh, these Zoom calls, or whatever. We take this whole approach of this really stinks. Now, mind you, the situation is not ideal. And I'm not being tone deaf to the fact that the situation really does kind of suck overall, right? It does. What I'm saying is make the best of your situation. You've still got goals to accomplish. You still, at one time, sat down to write down what your goals were, whether it was a dream board, whether it was a journal, whether it was a log entry, I make it sound like Star Trek right now, right? Log entry 5-date-5-2-1-1-6-5-7, Captain James T. Kirk. So whatever it is, you've taken the time to be able to sit down and write that goal down at one time or another because it was important to you and you felt that it was necessary for you to do so. Don't lose sight of it. Don't let the noise and the drama get in the way of you continuing to achieve your goals. Okay. If it's a health-related thing and you're losing weight and you want to be able to make sure that we're good to go, and you used to outfit your house with healthy foods and whatever else, but you've got other people in the household now that aren't eating the same way that you are, but you're feeding them, especially kids that are out of school. Now you're feeding them 3 times a day, including snacks everywhere. My kid's 14. He eats like a horse. He eats everything in the house. So we have to outfit that. And those foods are all around the house. So I know that I've got to put the work in to make sure that I am staying vigilant on what I need to. A snack every once in a while is okay. A stress snack is okay, guys. It's okay. But I know that I'm going to continue to stay the path for the goals that I've set out for myself because I'm worth the investment. I'm worth the time and energy it takes to be able to work at it, to focus on me, to be able to do the things that I need to do to continue to stay on the path of my goals no matter what's going on in the world. Pandemic or not, COVID or not, Corona or not, my goals have not changed. My goals are still the same. I want to lose weight. I want to be a long-term healthy item for my family. I want to be there for my family, being a loving and devoted husband and father. And I want to invest in other people in any way that I can to make sure I can lift them up and get them to think to themselves that they can accomplish anything they set their mind to. Pretty simple. Hasn't changed, but I feel like it has at times. Because of the noise, because of the drama, because of the stress, because of being stuck at home, because of the change of pace and everything around it, the change of scenery that I'm stuck in an office or whatever. Guys, remember that, okay? Your goals haven't changed. You're still just as important as you were before this happened, during when this is happening, and afterwards. Your goals are still going to be just as important as they were. So focus on that. I wanted to change the pace in this podcast today because I felt like I've been sliding down the negative slope, and I feel like that's not me. And I need to make sure that I continue to keep my head up and keep pushing forward and invest in myself to know that I'm worth that investment and I am awesome and I'm going to keep on moving forward, just like each and every one of you should. Just know that, okay? Coming from me to you, from this mouth through this microphone into your ears, you're worth the investment. I care about you, and I think that you should continue to invest in yourself no matter what's going on around you, no matter how much you're caretaking, no matter how much you're a mom of 4 kids or whatever it is. You're taking care of your family, but don't forget to take care of you, and don't forget about your goals that you have set out for yourself, okay? All right, guys, I'm going to let you go on that note. Here's a couple things on the back end here I just want to be able to cover with you. If you want to become a patron of the show, which I opened with in the beginning of how loyal my patrons are, and the folks that have been around that are investing in the show, they have all received their mugs pretty recently, where it has Coffee Talk with Liquidshano, and it also has on there Life is a Journey, Not a Destination, and they love them. You can get tchotchkes, you can get merchandise for becoming a patron of the show. If you want to, I'll also put it in the body of the podcast itself, www.patreon.com/liquidcoffeetalk. Just put that all in there. That's one word on the back end. It'll take you right to the patron page. You can become a patron. Secondly, I'm also going to put a link to the video podcast that Joe Atang did with me on YouTube that I'm going to layer in right with the podcast here so you can go check out that interview. How humbling is it and amazing to me that some of my goal items of connecting with other people and sharing stories and sharing best practices, which is part of my overall goals that I'm trying to set out for, that I just did an interview this morning with somebody that I met on TikTok, that we were having a conversation, and he wanted to have me on his show. I'm floored and blown away by the whole entire thing, to be honest with you. But it's amazing because some of my goals are starting to come to fruition. And that's something to celebrate and lean in on to show that it's possible. Okay, so I'm going to put that link right into the body of it also. And then I'm also going to put the 2 kitchen tables and a microphone link right into the body of the podcast as well. So you can see me and John in our latest episode and then subscribe to it and be able to sign up for everything else. So lots of things going into the body of the podcast today to be able to direct you guys to different places, to check some stuff out. They're good tools and resources. Gives you the ability to be able to lean in. But most of all, I love the fact that you listen to this podcast. You're part of my journey together, and we're in this whole entire thing together, okay? Don't forget about your goals. Invest in yourself, and we'll be talking soon. See ya.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast. Please do us a favor and leave feedback and a 5-star rating on whatever platform that you use.